Hello, everyone, and good afternoon to the 12th episode of Tech Talks with Psychologist. And I am your host, Ms. Basha, Director at ITRAS, Institute of Clinical Hypnosis and Related Sciences. Today, we have with us Dr. Asha, who's going to talk about counseling. Before we begin, everybody who's there online and has questions can please ask those questions in the comment section, and we'll surely answer them. You can also start a watch party on Facebook so that your friends and family can benefit out of the session. A brief about the organization ICLAS. It's an organization that focuses on helping coaches, psychologists, trainers develop advanced coaching and therapy. Dr. Asha, since we are not able to do this earlier because of the technical issues, rescheduled, and today is the day when we are doing it. So Dr. Asha is an educational scientist, academician, psychologist, counselor, child development consultant, master hypnotist, learning and development analyst, life coach, and a drama therapist. She's the author of the following books, which is Freedom of Expression, Share, Concern, and Connect. Life is a journey, hustle wisely, and emotional balance. He's been awarded Vidya Visharda in an excellently multiple women awards. Women of Success. We welcome Dr. Asha to the session and perhaps a quick introduction from your end.
Hello.
So, Dr. Asha, a quick introduction from your end before we start with the topic.
Yeah. About
yourself.
okay.
Oh, I have given it just a one-liner from your end.
I can define myself as the most approachable, simple, and very generous person, and creative too. So, profession aside, but my passion is to reach out to people, understand their psyche, relate to them, connect to them, and make them happy and be happy.
Okay. So, let's go ahead with our set of questions. Dr. Asha, if you could talk about counseling in general first, and then we can go to different aspects of counseling.
Okay. So nowadays, counseling has become part of life. You know, after there is a serial and sequence, consecutive changes in the social environment, counseling has become part of life. So there are a lot of stigmas also associated with counseling. Let me try to define as simple as possible. You know, counseling is nothing but developing certain coping skills where you stand firm between scarcity and abundance. So sometimes we meet with certain scarcities. It might be skills, it might be knowledge, it might be food, it might be basic needs, and abundance also. Sometimes we don't know to handle success. We don't know to be happy. What is the definition of happiness in my life? I don't know. If others are happy, I'm happy. Most of them tell. So counseling is something that you create a platform and make someone feel good, important, and understood.
Lovely. A very nice way to put it across in a most simplistic manner. I'm sure everybody is able to, grasp it. So let me come to the next question, Dr. Asha. If you could just talk about different therapies that come under counseling, like acceptance and commitment and various others, if you could shed some light on that.
Okay, there are about 5 to 6 different kind of therapies that we adopt, and these therapies fall into 3 different segments depending upon the personality and behavior aspects that the counseling come in. And few are directive, and few approaches are pragmatic. So we need to understand that there is developmental counseling, which is very new, and there is ACT. When I say ACT, it is acceptance therapy, acceptance commitment therapy, broken into 2 pieces according to the thought process of the person. And also we have, when we work on the past, that is we bring in the past, the childhood, the experiences, the past experiences the person really have. And we do have a behavioral oriented therapies in counseling, and we have cognitive therapy, wonderful problem solving techniques, and also very humanist approach what Carl Rogers non-directive principles. And also we do follow holistic therapies which include assessment and also therapy together, where we find the wound. While finding the wound, we induce the energy, fusing the courage for the person to fight their battles. There are a lot of therapies and counseling. When I say therapeutical counseling, it's a different flavor. There is lots of myths and misassociations and misconceptions with therapeutical counseling, coaching. Everything is a compartment to be understood and then practiced. It shouldn't be messed up because we will be playing with lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that we need to keep in mind. If we are to talk about the importance of acceptance and commitment therapy, what would you have a word on that? As in, how would you
Yeah.
define the importance of it?
See, when we understand the approach towards ACT, there are two things to be understood, that is cognitive diffusion and cognitive fusion. So this shouldn't be messed up with. Cognitive diffusion is deliberation or deliteralization of thought process. And fusion is we consider thoughts as the primary factors, and we think that truth is something that I think thoughts are truth, so I believe them. And thoughts are so real, I give that regards. Thoughts are very important, I just follow them. Thoughts are leaders which lead, and thoughts are something very, very dear, and it is very close to me, so I accept thoughts. So fusion is something that we fuse in courage through thoughts. That is, we talk to people and we more listen, and there is a balance between what we are talking to and what we are listening, and we correlate and bring the congruency, that line, that string, so that the pearl of wisdom is made properly, and the person sitting before finds solace in the act. So this is about fusion. When it comes to diffusion, this is a different theory which involves different stages of mind. So it thoughts is something that fusion speaks, and diffusion speaks that we are going to operate the thought. Thoughts become as like arithmetic operators, plus, minus, division, and multiplication. We use mind and set the theory, restructure a complete program, and help the person to accept and also commit for his own life. So as I told you in the last session, that five mind theory from our Vedanta, which speaks about the mudha, very, very passive mind. I don't want to change, and I want the world to change for me. There are counselors who come from that end, you know, and there are counselors with kshipta, restless. I want to change today. I don't want to wait. I have no patience. I have no time. Okay. And there are counselors who come with a focus. I want to change this, not that. That is what Vikshipta. And Ekagra, very much focused. I just need a solution, validation, and approval from you. I know everything. Even I know the process of counseling. I have read on the Google, and after empathy, this role, rapport building, you guys are doing it. Please don't waste time. I know this. After this, what? And there are people who, with Maudha, state that they come for in this, seeking the soul searching, to understand their self and better their life, better their quality of life. So ACT deals with all these fine minds. Diffusion is all about understanding. And the fifth principle of ACT is, one is the difference between values and goals. People don't know the definition of values. There are personal values are different, professional values are different, life values are different. So we need to know which is the value that I'm going to apply, where and when. Goals are different, and values are different. And ACT deals with all these three triads equally and see that they establish equilibrium and their thoughts are in a way that the complete energy is channelized productively. It's all about ACT.
Lovely. Very well put across point by Dr. Asha. Dr. Asha, we quickly say hi to everybody who's online watching us.
Yes,
Um,
yes. So,
Hi,
hi everybody.
everybody, and thank you for joining us. And do share your questions. Dr. Asha, we do have a question regarding how counseling works with special cases. So it has been asked by Geeta. So
Mhm.
Geeta, if you tell especially what special cases we're talking about, I think it will become
Mhm.
more clearer for her to answer you on that.
Okay. What does she mean when she says special cases?
Yeah, that's
Is that
what I've
I'm
asked her. I've asked her what
yeah.
does special cases is she talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
So once she comes with her question again, we'll take up that.
Mm.
So, Dr. Asha, how would one use counseling in their current work? So, whoever is practicing other modalities with
Mhm.
in mental health care field, how would they use
Mhm.
counseling along with their current practice or integrate that?
Okay, so integration of counseling also means self development, whichever profession they are in, and whichever practices. Like counseling has different flavors. When you deal with children, you need to be having a different mindset. We need to really break down a lot of inhabilitancies, being adults before them, and dealing with young adults is challenging because we need to really be open minded. So likewise, when it comes to integrative counseling, it does have a lot of focus on dealing with one's life, their family, and how is the quality of life, and differentiating between quality of living and quality of life. That becomes prime factor. Do I know the difference? It's not about how well built my house is, how great my furnitures are. It's about how much resilience do I have, how much coping skills do I really have in dealing with my own problems. And it's all about confidence. It's all about the whole self concept and how much confidence, how much leadership qualities, how much ownership do I have on my own life makes the person confident enough in whichever profession it is. Counseling will become part of life. That you talk to anybody, that you are bringing a smile on their face as you are bringing up such a beautiful smile, and it's so welcoming. So how do you keep your environment empathetic, whichever environment it is? How to bring that smile on people. It's not about giving them food, it's not about providing them materials, immaterial of all this. How do you
Absolutely.
bring that empathy? So that's all
Absolutely.
about. Yeah. Counseling is required, and that is the agenda of certain edu revolution that we are in. And right now, we need that teachers have to get trained, equipped with certain skills, and that is the need of the hour.
Absolutely. Very well put across, Dr. Asha. I can't agree more on that. Um, There's the question, one more question. So Shilpi is asking that can you share a case study when one can use the ACT and not CBT?
Who is?
Okay, one
Yeah.
second. I'll read the question again. Um,
Mhm.
can you share a case study when can one use ACT and not CBT?
Yeah. So I can share you a case study of a woman of 40 years, and she was being married to a very well-to-do family, having two special children, not be able to accept their children, because she was being raised in such an environment that she never faced what is pain in life, whether it is the mental pain or the emotional pain. She was not introduced, and she was a celebrated child when she got married, when she had that love and affection in the family. But after she got these twins as special children, she was not able to accept. Number one, what we did is how much she loved children, how much she accepts that this is mine. So we did work on that thought, because sometimes what happens deep within, I know that these are my children, but somewhere on the surface that I don't want them to be like this. So when we help her to commit that, it is not the problem with the children. Children are okay to be like this. The problem is in our acceptance, that you are not able to accept that these are my children and I want children with these ABCD things. So when we put her to the fifth, that is the connection and contact, she could easily travel from Shikta to Vikshikta. That she started. Her focus was on the complete wellness of children and connecting, bonding through activities. And the fourth principle, that is self-observation. When she accepted, how is the state of mind compared to the one who was not able to accept these children. And finally, we could close by bringing our values and goals, that this can be done, and these children can be really can get into mainstream once she becomes a resilient mother. So this is how we could apply ACT, and ACT works with these kind of issues, and psychoeducation should go parallelly, because we need to give them proper inputs, handhold them, and there are chances of getting into panicky by getting a lot of intellectual stuff and asking opinions around in the environment, the influence, and we need to also understand the kind of anger she has. There might be suppressed anger which is overwhelming or volatile or behavioral, which may disturb the environment. So ACT works with anger disorder also.
Lovely. I'm sure, Shilpi, your question has been answered. Rohini has a question that how to counsel a 12-year-old child with a grief of losing her grandfather.
Okay. So firstly, we need to understand what is grief. Grief is the response to loss, and it has its own scale. It starts with resentment, negative thinking. If I don't have this person in my life, and I will miss this, okay. And when you respond to this kind of loss, and grief will start with resentment, slightly move towards fear of losing others also. Now I don't have my grandfather. What if I miss my father? What if I miss my mother? And under that kind of thoughts will get suppressed, and I don't have adequate number of words because I'm 12 years old. Whom to express? How to express? That will be a big question mark. Slightly that move towards worries, and worries to guilt, and guilt to anxiety, anxiety to the to grief. So we need to attend it one by one, and the excellent thing that can work with a 12-year-old while counseling is expressive counseling. That is expressive therapy along with talk therapy. We call it as expressive counseling, that you also express along with the child and bring in stories, journals, bring in colors, so that you add colors to one's life who have really missed. And also there are three misconceptions associated when it comes to 12-year-old, and grief won't be for a longer time for children. That's absolutely a myth. They don't know to express most of the times to whom to express, one. And number two is they don't understand the loss. Oh my God, they understand the most. It might be the smallest loss, they go through it so much. And also they forget soon. No, they don't. They don't. They sulk. And this reflects on their academic progress. This reflects on their performance. So to counsel a child going through grief, we need to bring in all this, and it doesn't happen just by giving advices, because we all know as psychologists that auditory is not structured to listen. Realization and exploration is something that we have to adopt in the process of counseling when you are attending such sensitive cases.
Very well. So, Dr. Asha, Sakshi is asking that how do you counsel someone with bipolar disorder?
Help. Counseling alone doesn't help. We need to adopt four modalities. One, talk therapy. Number two is positive induction. Number three, psychoeducation and positive therapy. So this has different modalities again. when it is talk therapy, bipolar is something that there is an energy diffusion and energy oscillations. Okay, we need to bring in that balance between two energy system. So always I say emotions or electronic motion in the body, that is, it is channelized as energy, and it may be outburst of anger, excitement in form of various emotions. So when it is bipolar, they don't know to channelize in a subtle way, and also they don't have that understanding of the environment. So for that, positive psychology and foresight psychology both are important. So it doesn't happen only by talking or listening. We need to really bring in psychocompetency tools in understanding and also bringing that therapeutic thing. And when it comes to bipolar, they can be counseled with using art therapy as assessment, and also therapeutical tools that fusion, shielding, and filter. All these three techniques will work very well with bipolar.
Lovely. So, Dr. Asha, there is Jyoti's question that a 12-year-old lost her mother, feels father supported his mother more and not even the children. Does not want to stay with him and his mother, staying
Hmm.
now with Nana Nani.
Hmm.
So I don't know what is the question. I mean, this is the
Maybe she
description that
has
she's giving.
written her expression for my answer. I believe so. It's an affirmation, I believe. It's not a question. Okay.
Okay. So we have one more question from Gayatri, that how counseling is effective for alcoholic addiction patients.
Okay. So, when a person gets into substance abuse, whether it is alcoholic or any kind of practices, it's a distracting method they choose. That is, it is, and we need to help them travel from distraction to attraction. So, there should be something more in life which can overpower the practices or habits that he has made. What can overpower emotions only can overpower. So it's not about I sit with the person and counsel doesn't help. I need to involve everything. I need to get out of my cabin and work with this. I need to have a home visit, understand due diligence, physical and emotional due diligence is very important. Meet his family members, who are his friends, and where is he working, how is his anger schedule, where when is the which part of the day he is more angry, which part of the day he sulks, which part of the day he likes to be alone. All the things has to be pattern. When this falls into pattern, then counseling can help. But without knowing these things, we cannot counsel, because that alone will not work. It just become giving gyans to people, and that doesn't work unless until you touch the bliss point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that answers your question, Gayatri. We also have another question that how does one use ACT on client with low self-esteem and anxiety?
Okay. So, why a person gets into low self-esteem? So, when we get into, Erickson's theory, we can understand the complexities of life. So if the child in a very early age have faced mistrust, or if there was any clashes between the autonomy versus shame, or if the child was embarrassed, or the child was compared, or the child was not given, if the child was abused or neglected child, or if there was a clash between initiation and guilt. Say very small example, mother will be filling water in a bottle, and exactly a 5, 6 year old want to imitate. She takes another bottle, go behind her mother and try to fill. Will mother allow? She will tell, no, you don't know to do this. So for me as a mother, it is a very small thing. For a child, the child is initiating. The child wants to learn, and I'm stopping that initiation. That is the main reason for low self-esteem. When the child is not allowed to explore, when the child is not allowed to be creative in the language the child knows to, and that is when the child doubts. And also the major contribution is the environment. this is a research that I'm sharing with you, that go to any gynecologist centers, nursing homes, pediatricians, you find foreign children's pictures, not Indian children. The moment the child is
Right.
born, there is no acceptance. That is, these children are better than me. So who am I?
Right.
If my parents, my people are not accepting me, who else will? That is when there was a big revolution with racism. That is when the pictures of black were used. That is to bring up the self-esteem, and you can see them growing up later. So as Indians, we need to understand that our children are cute. They are beautiful. We need to accept. We don't need
Absolutely.
to show them that this is something that you can be. We can cherish and celebrate our own children. And these are all, there are many other reasons for the child to develop the self-esteem. These are all the major reasons. We need to go back to the childhood and understand how they were raised.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure, Shilpi, this answers your question. Can you also tell us about how to anchor and diffuse be used in this kind of case?
Which diffuse? What is that?
Uh, can you also tell us how can anchor and diffuse be used in this kind of case?
Okay, diffusion is a method that first I'll encourage and start taking out unwanted things out of somebody's thought process. That is here when I say acceptance, it also means extension. So, what is extension is I'm not going to judge my own thought. That is when a counselor realize that every thought is okay in life. Most of the times we have been raised in an environment, our parents do tell us, you cannot think like this. We do tell people, you cannot think like this.
Yes.
Thoughts are not in my hands. So these kind of inhabitancies, barriers, and we help them to break that fear zone and get into comfort zone, and break that comfort zone, get into learning zone, and break that learning zone and get into growth. So this is that. So when it is an emotional disturbance, or when it is distraction issues, or whether it is academic performance, act is absolutely a very effective tool, but it has to be done in a way, it has to be, so we cannot experiment, but certainly we can explore.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Asha, any kind of limitations you would say are there while working with people with counseling?
Yes, there are certain limitations that I should know my strengths. First one. Number two is I need to accept no from people. I should be graceful in accepting no from people. I cannot please or impress here. I am not there to impress anybody, or here I'm not here to be on a higher pedestal. I'm not a sage on the stage, but a guide beside. I need to accept that. The challenge is whenever a counselor come here with a greater expectation and put forcefully the counselor on a higher pedestal, that your life is better than us. So we need to accept that, no self-disclosure. Okay, we need to accept that. And also the biggest challenge is burning out. So if I listen a no from one person, I will self-doubt on the skills that I have. Can I really counsel? Is my personality fit for counseling? I start upgrading myself, and I start doubting my self-confidence. That is something that every counselor has to work. And transparency in counseling. Most of the times, what happens? I get bonded to counseling so much that I get into the friend zone, and I cannot say no. Obligations, no lines. So we need to be careful in these three quadrants. Drawing line is very important, where we can really work at a professional level, and not counseling relation and friends or anybody in the family. that keeps you safe. And number three, don't be a counselor at home. People cannot accept you like that. And practicing counseling is for you and your self development. Please don't reinforce forcefully on somebody whom you love. Though you know their quality of life is not great, don't force it. It should be an idea for life. It shouldn't be a tagline for life.
Very well.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Asha, I think previously what I think Shilpi had asked the question regarding it was regarding the anchor and diffusion, and she was asking with respect to an adult. How would
Okay.
you work with an adult?
Okay. So is that two meanings for this? Is that anchor or anger?
Anchor.
Anchor. Okay. So when I say anchor with diffusion, the parking of emotions are very important. So that is when there are distortions. Three things has to be observed. One is the behavioral variations. So how this diffusion help us understand, especially with adults, there is three what do I say? Very strong notions that I am an adult and this is how people expect and I have to stand up to the expectation. Number one, there is confusion between role and responsibility. Number two, and number three is I don't know whether I have to think about yesterday, today, or tomorrow. So all these three, for these three to fall in place, as she told, there should be an anchor. So as the name itself, I mean, personifies, diffusion help us to park properly emotions and intelligence, and the bridge between emotion and intelligence is cultural intelligence. So diffusion help us to develop cultural intelligence so that I become independent, gain clarity, what I want, what I don't want, and that itself is a big diffusion that I will be omitting the thoughts which doesn't matter to my life, and also develop pre-sensory, insulation. That is, before I know that this person is going to stop me from doing it, I switch off. This is what is diffusion. You train yourself so much, the person is coming and he's definitely is going to stop me from doing it. Do you really want to anchor? Do you really want to hold on? Okay, if you really want to hold on, switch off. Don't get oscillate between should I listen to this person or should I stay here. So it's all about me, my life, and how well do I know my life matters.
Absolutely. I'm sure this clarifies, Shilpi, your question. So we have Nampi's question, which is 18-year-old boy is schizophrenic and cannot take medicine. How do we deal and counsel him?
Okay. So when it is the repetitive ideations, when it is repetitive actions, repetitive behavioral virtues the person develops, and it is of varied, behavioral outcomes. So when a person is going through schizophrenia, the first thing is we cannot stop the medicine at once. Okay, counseling is a parallel idea. So we need to sit with the psychiatry and what is the medicine, what are the side effects, and if at all we have to stop the medicine, what is the improvement scale the psychiatry is looking at. Say that the person is taking 2 mg or 5 mg of certain tablets to reduce to 2 mg. What is that the psychiatry looking at? What is the goal setting? It has to work parallelly as we do in ECP. So it has to be
Right.
run parallelly. Counselor has to meet the psychiatry and support psychiatry. It's not that I deal it. There are counselors who say, you please stop the medicine step by step in 15 days, I'll take care. No, it's not a joke. So we need to really do it as a teamwork. And slowly when we sustain in this by reducing and meeting certain goal points, then we can think of stopping the medicine and introducing new therapies which the person can really take it. Otherwise, we are indirectly putting pressure on the person, and also there might be chances of the person getting into panics. why this counselor is telling me to stop medicines, then if there be any side effect, go to Google, check it, and there are few case studies which is real
Yeah.
and unreal, and that will become more panic. So to stop that social anxiety and general anxiety getting in, I may not talk to people. I'll stop. Okay, if there are 10 symptoms, I think that I may have all 10 symptoms. That's how we are structured. If someone tell me strongly, I believe it. So not to rate the issue, but be with the person, and as a counselor, team up with the psychiatry and slowly work on it. It takes time, but it can be done. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so that was one question. Archana has a question that Doctor, people have lost jobs, and they are in grief in this pandemic situation. How do you counsel them?
Okay. So when they have lost job, and when they are looking
Especially, I
for,
think she's talking about this pandemic
yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah. Firstly, they need to attend the social anxiety, and secondly, the doubt about the future. There are lots of information, clutter, decluttering of mind is required, because there are from morning to evening I sit passive. I gain information. It might be from media, it might be through forwards and WhatsApp. There are a lot of wanted and unwanted materials that is getting in. I need to attend the cognitive distortion in the person. The more knowledgeable I am, I'm having more information, more time to I have. So I process this information whether wantingly or not. I have time to worry. So worrying becomes objective. So we need to focus on positive thing, not negative thing. So whenever I say parents to talk to children, don't focus on anger, focus on calmness. Instead of focusing on what happens to my future, focus and make your future. They see threats are opportunities. So sometimes when you are not having job in this particular segment, you are so creative. Bring all your creative mind and set up a profession, build yourself stronger and do something new, and you are a contributor. So focusing on something, getting up is very much important. For that, we need to fuse in the courage. We need to shield them from damaging further, and why shielding? Because none of the information should alter the lifestyle of a person. So they should know what applies to their life, because it's one's life and only one life. That importance should be inducted.
Very well. I'm sure this will help to a lot of people who are, actively, inactively there on this platform, and they can share the same tips with other people also. Um, so there is, I think Ashna has asked about convincing a ASD adult, a
Mhm.
newly married engineer girl to go to husband's home. So I think how
Hmm.
does one do? That's what
Okay,
she's
can you
asking.
repeat the question? Little more clarity I need. Can you repeat the
You want me to
question?
reread the question?
Yes.
Okay. So, convincing a ASD adult, newly married
Mhm.
engineer girl to go to husband's house.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So there are three distinguished qualities in women, female. We are born with three H. That is happiness, healing, and hardness. That is, we can make people happy, we can keep people happy, and I can be happy too. And healer, that wherever I am, I have that energy to bring that solace to the system, and also I can understand somebody. It is the innate quality of a female. So what happens down the line when I am raised by my parents? There are certain, unknowingly they may tell you, you don't sweep at home, you go to in-laws house, they will make you do it. So there are a lot of induction from the environment that I think a normal a typical and a neurotypical girl has a fear, and
Right.
it is a den and a lioness is waiting for me. Okay, for a ASD, okay, certain subconscious inputs are very strong. What did people speak around her? What did people speak after marriage? The post marriage effects, the post marriage influences. It might be the sexual thing also, that she may not have clarity what she likes, what she doesn't like, how much informed she is about the post marital sex concept, and also how much she is threatened by people about post marriage issues. All this has to be attended one by one, and then if for an ASD, confusion is an issue. When you sit with them and you cannot expect them to respond, they will react when they are at the highest emotions. Okay, don't talk to them when they are calm. You cannot convince, but you can transact. Transactional analysis will help, because we cannot convince them. Their ideas are way ahead of us. They think 5 years ahead of us. They are very sharp by mind. Their intellect and also their verbal capacity is more than us. So it's very important that you need to transact. You cannot convince.
Excellent. I'm sure this answers your question, Archana. So, I think Shirsagar has asked a question that how to counsel a person who is addicted to sex and does not understand any boundary level in relationship. If it is not control the scenario, it will worsen up.
Again, yeah, usually what happens in a professional area, unless until the person is experienced, they attend to the surface level. So, sex communication may be today's issue, but we don't know how was the psychosexual development in this person. Was he being breastfed properly? How was the erogenous organs and its orientation, like mouth, anal, phyllic, all these things? How was it placed? For the person today to get into boundaryless, bountiful sexual practices, reason is not today, it was yesterday. So we need to first understand the growth part, and also we need to understand the complexity. When he was between 7 and 14, was he abused? Was he abused, and was there any confusions between the industry and the identity? So how was school, how was he into peer pressure, or a lot of things will fall here. So once we attend, we know the pattern in which he grew, and along with him this particular notion would have grown. So there are case studies that are very well settled by my child, not by getting a proper career choice, be not being given independence to choose career, got into this sexual issues. So we need to understand that it is not a forced idea; it is a distractive method again. Okay, and also the compassion. Compassion is very much important, and there are instances that the person might be very introvert, intuitive, judging, and thinking person. So compassion is very much necessary for this person, because he doesn't express, he wants somebody to express. Okay, so when I don't get that missing puzzle in my life, when I was a missing puzzle yesterday, so this kind of confusions help force a person to develop certain habits which may not be an acceptable one in the society. So for this, we need to really stand with the person, not judging the person is doing a wrong job, but be with the person and help him out to work it well, slowly cut down on things, and have a definite structure for his life.
Very nice. Yes, that should help, I think, to him. Um, I think Polumi Saha has asked how to forget past relationship when both are in same work institution. How can one I ignore him or remove him from my mind?
Okay, it's the most challenging and most awaited question. Okay,
It's
relationship.
finally here.
Okay, so relationship is something that happen to stand on four pillars, that is trust, faith, belief, and love. when love is not understood, when what is trust is not defined, when faith is not oriented, when belief doesn't have a structure, relationship falls and it is unnurtured. So to nurture a relationship, we need all this. At the same time, to come out of a relationship, the same ingredients work. So we need to really believe that without him or her, my life will be beautiful. If I don't have that belief system, none of the emotions, none of the mind capacity use, you will not be able to come out. So I trust that if I am with this person, I am very happy and beautiful. So now I have to break the trust. It's in my hands. As long as I have that trust, array is moving before my eyes and I can't live without this person. If I keep on telling my subconscious, then it's not possible. And also faith in this relationship. I don't have faith in other relationship because I'm into fear and I have fear to explore. Okay, because I don't know if I get a relationship which is even more worse than this. So I don't want to experiment, but I have inhabitencies in moving on. So to break this and understand that love is not an emotion, it is a decision. So I decided to bring in this emotion because if it is an emotion, it's a baggage I carry wherever I go. But if I had a fight, I say that immediately I hate you. So it is a decision. It is a decision. As long as there is a commitment, there is a mutual contribution and understanding, love perishes, flourishes. Otherwise, love is dead. So love is not an emotion, it is a decision, it is a devotion too. So I always say as long as you understand love and the power of love in your life in the way that it is a productive engagement of your mind. It fuses your mind to, it drives you, it is a driving point. As long as you understand that it is a bliss point and driving point in your life, your passion and purpose has life. So to bring in that life, you need to work on all these four concepts and come out. You can come out of it. It's your decision.
Absolutely. The choice is always there, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I'm sure, Paulina, you have some understanding, clarity. Kunti had asked how to use counseling strategy to sensitize children of all ages of impact of this pandemic situation, especially in school setup.
Okay. So when it is school setup, we cannot drive in the information. So there are 4 points that we need to gradually push in that particular skill to develop that resilience and insulate them. One is driving point, bliss point, motivational point, and blind spots. So we need to know that which are the blind spot. The most significant blind spots are I may also die. The death rate is going high. You know, they converse with each other. They don't know death because parents doesn't introduce them to this concept. So I always tell parents when you want your child to move on and when you have actually geared up with the starting point, you need to show them this is the ending point and the absolute truth of life. You know, they don't take them to funerals and this becomes something dark in life. And this develops anxiety and fear towards something. So when you sit with children and talk about it, you know, talk about insulating physically and emotionally also, and touch their bliss points instead of focusing on something that you are going to die and corona is something they great. Bringing the concepts that we have already dealt, like cholera, plague, and all that. Even though the science was not great, there are 50,000 people dying every day. We could fight it, and it's all about your contribution to help for children to learn how to wash hands, make them responsible. That is motivational point. Okay, so
Absolutely.
making having all these 4 points, we can really insulate them, and that comes under the first responsibility of the school. I see them conducting online classes for mathematics and science. They should bring in this resilience to insulate children from whatever anxiety and fear they are associated.
Yeah. It's I think more so a life skill if we say making them ready more so with how to manage their lives going forward with children.
Yes. So when it is 10 components of life skill, Okay, so there are 9 different personalities. It's very interesting in the classroom that there are perfectionists who would like to receive the information in an organized way. If you tell them abruptly, they don't understand and relate. Relation and connection is very important with children. So there are sometimes parents ask me, he's not paying attention. I always say that paying attention is not a great thing. You need to build a connection for him to pay attention. So it is very important. How do you connect with 9 personalities in your classroom? And driving in life skills is not that just introducing these are the 10 components of WHO self-awareness. These are all some concepts that they don't even experience. What is self-awareness? Where is self? And how is awareness? How is pain? We cannot touch and feel. So there are children who are like the mentors. You know, they mentor you. And there are children who are achievers. They keep focusing on some particular point. They are not bothered about whether it is pandemic happening or academic happening. They are with their focal point, very settled. And there are designers. They will design the news for you. Okay, if there are 10, they will tell you it is 20 and beautify it. Okay, and there are investigators for you, exploratory people for you, and also there are enthusiastic people that they drive in energy. If you are with migraine, they see that they take you out of it. And also there are challengers and peacemakers like Krishna. So you have all these people in your classroom, and how can you drive life skill? Like standing on the stage and telling them this is self-awareness and this is empathy. That doesn't work. You need to really reinforce the challenges in their life. Have the challenge, spark the challenge that you are capable of doing it. Okay, give them responsibilities and define their roles. That is the only way to keep them alive.
Absolutely, very well put across, Dr. Asha. I am sure most of the parents watching or the other practitioners would be able to inculcate it in their practice. I think Vijaya has a question that how to help a person to seek counseling help as she's lost her mother a year ago.
Mhm.
So this person is feeling guilty that she could not save her mother, and now
Mhm.
after her mother has passed away, she is in depression and is
Mhm.
refusing to see a psychologist.
Okay, the best idea is to meet a psychologist, but we need to draw a line for the assumptions because who defined this depression for the person? We may not know
Absolutely.
if he is into depression because just seeing few symptoms cannot make a person to come to conclusion the person is going through depression. And as I told, the scale of grief last is guilt. You know, we need to attend it. It's good that they take professional help, and this is the right period, right time. Yeah.
Yeah, but the challenge with her that she's saying that she's not wanting to go to a psychologist. The person who's grieving is not wanting to go, and so how does one convince? The question is how does one convince her to go to a psychologist?
Okay, here convincing, more than convincing, it's about sitting with the person and talking about it, helping him to vent out without you.
Dr. Asha, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm able to. I'm able to. Are you able to hear
Yeah.
me? Okay.
Yes.
So
Continue, please.
when I'm speaking to my family member, I don't have that confidentiality assurance. Neither I trust a person because I don't want her to or him to go and spread it across people. There are, as I told, there are people who are troubleshooters. You know, we have that is also one of the enneagram that we have, and there are peacemakers. I can suffer, but I don't want others to suffer. So these kind of, we don't know the kind of personality he is. Okay, we need to first understand and give him space to be him. It's okay to be in guilt for some time. What happens? Family people are so worried that they want to, bring him out of the pit in 1 or 2 days. Is also not a right act. Let him go through it for a while. Let him calm down. Let him understand, and let him. And just what you have to do is just compare himself with him. This was him, and bring your feeling words, your emotional
Right.
words, and also don't talk about the pain. You were so good, and it pains me when I see you like this. Please don't bring all that. Don't show sympathy. Empathy is all required. That too, cognitive empathy, not affective and somatic empathy. He needs cognitive empathy. To be with him in this stage is all required. You need not give gyans or pull him to professional help. Let him rest, let the emotions spark, and then try one by one in helping him, giving him space to vent out. You can do this.
Absolutely. So I think so Aruna has a question that how to counsel a child's restlessness to adjust to homeschooling, seeing increase in tantrums, sibling fights, and also elder child getting to near to conclusion that she will be instructed to do that, and both the parents are working from home.
Okay, so I want to, cut this case into three different equations. One is sibling rivalry. Number two is anger. Number three is the process of getting the things done and the confusions in doing it. So there are sometimes that parents doesn't break the issues into smaller components and try to solve it at once, which doesn't happen. First, we need to attend sibling rivalry, bring that peace at home. Number two is understand the style of anger that your child has. Why sibling rivalry? Answer is this. One is volatile anger, other one is overwhelming. One is retaliatory anger, and father is behavioral anger. So we need to know that how anger is expressed at home by elders and adults, and we need to have family meeting which is congruent, that I need to accept as an adult, yes, it was my mistake and I will not do this. Okay, and there should be a structure and a plan for family, that walking the talk is very much important, consistency is very much important. And number four is we need to help them bond better. So sometimes what happens, it is about being lockdown has opened eyes of so many. I had a recent case that a 5 year, a 5 year marriage is sort of what the person is telling. I can't live with her. She is so boring. After lockdown, I could realize that this person is so boring. So sometimes we don't have time to even bond with each other. So this is the time to bond. Certain emotions can be anchor to bond. That this anchor can be an anchor for you to have a family talk, to know each other's shortcomings also. And once this bonding develops, then automatically other things will fall in place. So giving gyans, bringing your past life and telling when I was a small child will not work. So this has to be handled gracefully, because today's children are very, very smart, and along with smartness, they do have value for emotions.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Rashmi, there is Neetu asking that if a couple is facing an issue of lack of trust and faith in a relationship, resulting in conflict, then how counseling can help them to rejuvenate the trust and faith between them.
Okay. So firstly, we need to understand why am I in this relationship. Counseling help them to have that focal point, that why am I in this relationship? Why? Okay, what am I getting out of this relationship being with this person? So what are my lookouts? Is that material, or is that compassion? Is that love? What am I expecting? And who is expecting more? Who compromises first? And who wants whom more? Okay, so counseling help them to bring clarity on all these peripherals. So advantages of disadvantages, thinking practically. If I walk out of this relationship, what are the advantages and disadvantages? If I am being in this relationship, these are the advantages and disadvantages. If both of them can write this and explain each other. That brings lot of clarity. Why are they in this relationship? Once they know the answer, why are they in this relationship, automatically they become contributors and nurturers. Then first we need to attend the nature of the relationship to nurture the relationship. So bringing that clarity, what is the feature? So counseling helps them. Counseling really helps.
Absolutely, very well put across, especially in the case of relationship. Um, Let me see if we have. Yeah, we have a question from Malika. In a marriage of nearly 3 decades, wow, a
Okay.
partner's expectation is very higher. One partner's expectation is very higher than the other. It becomes difficult for the other partner to handle.
Hmm.
How would counseling help? I think that's the case that she's talking about.
Okay, so if it is 3 decades of relationship and
Marriage, yeah.
I congratulate the person and I appreciate that she's so open in discussing about this. And after 3 decades, there is an enthusiasm and energy in the person to build the relationship and also look at life as a flourishing end. So this has to be congratulated first. And secondly, after 3 decades, there is a realization that I have enough compromised and there is a lot of expectations that I'm not able to meet it. And there are three things to be addressed. One is fear for losing the image that I have built for 30 long years. If I go and tell this,
Yes.
you are expecting more, what happens to my image? Number one. Number two is what will people think? Number two. And number three, it's almost 30 years, and how many years will I be alive? So these three things
Right.
should be given a punch point, and once it is settled emotionally that no, I need to really work on this, that is when they can take counselors help. And this should be done with two. Only one cannot contribute for this particular issue. Both of them should sit and draw down the structure properly, and counselor can help them in restructuring also if the structure is not congruent with the kind of personalities they are. And Myers-Briggs method will really work for them to find out their personality out of 16 personality, so that they can understand the outlook and also the lookout for another person. What another person can, which is the incomplete vacuum in the person. So once we the counselor also know about the vacuum points, probably she will help them to rebuild it. There is no problem, and there is no harm in reinventing your relationship and starting all over again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Asha, I have a question from my end that when there are clients with lower education background and are dealing with problems like OCD, anxiety, psychosomatic, and other issues, how do you work with them?
Okay. So my inputs may surprise you, but this is my experience that I'm going to share you. Working with low education background is much easier than working with a learned person. So a simple example is I'm an observer. So I go to Kidwai, I go to HCG and observe people there, and those who have come from village would have got into radiation and chemotherapy and no pain at all. They are just walking, and there is a learned person who have already know, oh, these are all going to happen to me, and it happens. And while coming out of the radiation, almost their body would have been bent. So sometimes knowledge is also too bad. So when it comes to OCD, I already know the symptom, I already know the medications, I already have read thousands of case studies. So this counselor, okay, this counselor, okay, the counselor with this quality may not suit for OCD. I only tell, so I can counsel myself, nobody can counsel me if I am too much knowledge or too much. But my experience is people from lower education background are very cute. very accommodative, very adaptive, because I mostly work with children and also adults in residential government school, and there the setup, the pain they go through and the emotional disturbances they go through, and they don't have that extra input and knowledge about having no symptoms and all that. They don't have, and whatever we tell them, that becomes a guiding rule for them, and they very well follow. And especially when it comes to regiments and action plan, you cannot expect a learned man or a woman following as much they do, and the wish to live is more
I think
important.
I would agree to that. I would second your thoughts on that. I've been working also with clients, how they take it, with to the point, they would follow it. Yeah. So I think that's something that is commendable. Uh, so since she's also mentioned about different issues like anxiety and OCD and all those, so you want to put across some light on it while you're working with these segment of people?
Yes, when it, especially with, I would like to take exam anxiety as an example when I work with children. Okay, they don't know why, what is anxiety, how does it look, and they only know that they are missing something, there is a void, and
Yes.
also they don't know what is pressure and stress. They only know that their appetite has gone down and they are having sleepless nights, so when you talk to these children, they only say that I'm not getting good sleep and I'm not able to eat stomach full and I'm into nausea and all this, but they don't know that anxiety is the reason, they don't know that stress is the reason. But when you give them proper regimens, that meditation for 5 minutes, you should see them the way they sit and they shrink all their eyes, close, stiff, and that elevates counselor to contribute more for these kind of children. And also the involvement of adults around, teachers around, they do stay with them, and involvement of them, and waking them up and helping them to progress, teaching them study skill, learning from us and teaching them, and counseling them with the small basic skills. This is bliss, this is heaven.
I'm sure that is. So let's see if I have. Um, how do we motivate adolescents to stay focused and work hard for their career through counseling?
Okay. See, when it is an young adult, we cannot force them, or we can. It's an ideapreneurship. Now there is nothing called as entrepreneurship. It is ideapreneurship. Every individual is independent with their ideas, whether they are working for somebody or whether they are working for self. They are idea oriented. So career path and also thoughts toward career is evolving. So when it is 1965 and 70s, people were into formal education, barristers, advocates were all more. And then it became technically aware and people towards automobiles and mechanisms, and then slightly to medical and formal engineering. And now it is informal education is taking a different degree of understanding. So we cannot force somebody to take up counseling, but if you think the person has all competency to be a counselor, you can seek career guidance, help the child to understand the difference between passion, interest, and strength. Strength is a different quantity, passion is a different quantity, and interest. Interest is short lived, passion is purposeful, and the strength is something that it has to accompany to seek success. So, if you can do it in a scientific way, then nothing better than that. But you cannot force any idea to anybody, especially to adult to structure their career. It's not right.
Okay. Okay, because her question was that to stay focused um, on their career as well as do and hard work. So I
Hmm.
think that answers what you said clearly right now.
Okay.
Because
To
our question
focus.
was that how does the one with counseling can we help
Oh,
adolescents
through
with
counseling. Okay, I took it
yes,
wrong. Okay, through
yes,
counseling, how can you help to focus on career and
career on career to focus on career and hard work towards the career. So basically
okay.
हार्ड वर्क करे और फोकस रहे अपने करियर के ऊपर फॉर द
Yes,
adolescents.
yes. Adolescence, as I told you that, there is no instruction manual is there for them to, or they don't follow. They are not directive people who will follow instruction and advices. And when it comes to, focusing on career and also hard work, the definition of hard work for us is different. The definition for hard work for them is different. We look out for how many hours did this person spend on the table. They look out at the result. Okay, this is what I may take a half an hour. That's okay. For me, this is the result, and it's a smart result. They know that this is the blueprint I want to fix up my goal there. That is all enough. I am not going to study for 99%. I'm studying for 72%. If I get 72, I'm through. So why do I invest so much of time? Instead, I do something else. So our young adults, hard work is different. First, you need to understand that the definition of hard work is evolved. Okay, and focusing on career, when it becomes focusing on career, sometimes they have confused with career plans that it should be a professional career plan. It's not about my sibling telling me to do something or parents telling me it is parampara, you have to get into it. Okay, what is that person's choice and ideas to be graduated professionally? So once that is structured and also you understand the definition of hard work from that person, definitely counseling can help in bridging the trauma to wellness. I always say that counseling is a bridge between trauma to wellness. So if studying and planning is a trauma, it is a bridge that take the person to the wellness.
Absolutely. So I am really enjoying the session, guys. How is it going with you guys? Do put your comments. And if you have any questions, lastly, we're almost at the end of the session. So in the next 5 minutes, I want to finish it up before I have other questions. So my question, Dr. Rasha, would be that what kind of legal and ethical issues would be faced by counselors on what they should be taking care of?
Okay, legal issue would be firstly getting into breaking the trust barriers, that is breaching confidentiality would be one, and also getting into breaking the public trust. Getting into the religioustic ideas, forcing some religioustic things, which is not legal. Okay, breaking the public trust. Number two is professional association. If you are into any professional association, please display the certificate. And it is very important that you are a certified counselor from a certified university or certified academy, who are training you with authority and authenticity, which is very much important. And also space for the decision. Space for the decision, when I say that when a person is deciding to go for a second relationship, you are no one to stop because your values are coming in, right? That is also not
Right.
legal. And also no maleficence, that is no harm to others. That is when a person is telling you that I'm going to harm myself or harm others, then just because you have promised the person that you are not going to tell anybody, at this stage you have to be careful. And also you might be involved in the process of legalities, so you should be careful that you should take the family into confidence to deal with such cases. And also fidelity and loyalty, even when it is questioned, okay, there is nothing should stop you in answering to people. There are a lot of times that I get calls and they do ask about the certifications and all this, so you should be having that thing. And nobody is on the higher pedestal. When you are a practitioner, people will have that should be given space to question your authority, because it's all about life. So there are 6 legal principles to be followed, especially when it comes to social arc. Putting a case study on a social arc with the definite names and all that is also a punishable offense. So we need to keep all this in mind. And without certification, practicing counseling just because I have attended a workshop is also a punishable offense. So we need to really practice, because the responsibility, the social responsibility on the shoulders are very, very important to realize.
Absolutely, very well summed it, Dr. Asha, that I'm sure the other practitioners would also get some insight out of it and clarity as to how to go about practicing it. And yes, we are at the end of the session. And I had a wonderful session asking the questions and, keeping my curiosities in place. I mean, it's been answered almost all the questions. And yes, I think all of you also had a wonderful time and very informative session that we had. So thank you so much,
Yes.
everybody who's watching us. And thank you so much, Dr. Asha, for coming. And thank
Thank
you for your valuable time and inputs. And yes, today uh, we have an issue with the noise. So sorry for that. But we'll definitely take care of it in the next session. And yes, I'm signing off. Once again, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you so
Asha, once
much.
again.
Thank you, Sanjana, and thank you, Misbah, for providing me an opportunity. And the questions that
Yeah,
was so fluid from you was tapping my curiosity to how much, and also it was an evaluation process for me to how much I know about counseling. So it was just a refreshing of walking the talk. So thank you so much,
absolutely. We had a
and
pleasure having you.
yeah.
And yes, for our viewers who have any questions or who have